Good morning. Good morning, collective. Hello, how are we doing today? Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is Patience. I am your favorite spirit medium host of Spirit News Podcast, which you can find on all major platforms. Thank you so much for all your love and support. We are so grateful for all of you guys who show up to listen, who come, who are called, who resonate with the messages. We're so grateful for you. Thank you so much. We truly, truly appreciate the love and support we've been getting. We absolutely love the community that we're building, where we're attracting all of the people that match our vibration. We're so excited to be doing that with you. We're so happy to learn energy, how to speak energy, how to read energy, how to interpret energy, information that is non physical. With the help of my spirit team, the Guild of the Golden Triangle, Mish, Mirabelle, and Mantis, everybody has a spirit team, and we are in direct contact and relationship with our very own spirit team to help develop our spiritual abilities, which everybody has. Everybody has spiritual abilities because you're first and foremost a non physical being having a human experience. And so, therefore, your non physical the energy the is a medium in which is used to communicate with your past over loved ones, with higher intelligence, with non physical beings. And it's also the same gift that helps you to discern which energy is for you and which is not. And this is a really important reading today, I think, that we're doing because in our society today, we really are not taught about energy and we have a lot of paranormal psychology, paranormal research. We have these shows that exploit, crossed over people who are stuck or who have not been able to transition properly, and we are really confused and we're really disrespectful, honestly, to that energy. And today we're going to be talking to Dan Rivera, and I am not saying that Dan Rivera is disrespectful. That's not what I'm saying. Dan Rivera he has crossed over. He crossed over July 13th. He Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. If you want to follow any of our socials, we would absolutely love to have you. You can find all of our socials through the description bar and the link through the link tree. We have all of our ways to connect there. We'd absolutely love for you to visit us on TikTok, Instagram. All of the podcast links are there. They're on all most major podcasting links. If that made sense. You can find them there, okay? And we'd love to have you. So, Dan Rivera is connected. Wizard. Where's my pen at? Wizard. Oh, I'm just gonna write that down. Okay, Dan Rivera is connected to Ed and Lorraine Warren of the Conjuring Universe franchise, and the Annabelle universe franchise. And um, I'm not saying that Annabelle made Dan Rivera pass. I'm not saying that, but we're gonna find out exactly what happened because it could be due to something energetic. And that's what I was saying before is that we are not taught, our society is not properly educated about these types of things, and we go in blindly. Hello, Ali, and we go in blindly without knowing the consequences or the dangers of not being in a frequency to repel these kinds of energies. And they can affect you. They absolutely can. They can cause havoc. They can make you feel like you're, some chosen one that is the only one who can receive these downloads, or can affect your mind with intrusive thoughts, that can make you think that you're thinking things, and give you ideas. It's like Inception. It's literally like the movie Inception. It's like the last the reading we did yesterday was comparing these entities, and I don't want to call them demonic because that's just a word that we use to describe something that's not good. Okay, but it makes it seem so much scarier, and it enhances the fear. There's entities that need to feed off of negative energy. That's how they eat. Okay, that's how they eat. You can look it up in Gnostic texts. Long ago, they spoke of archons. They exist, and they exist because God made them as a dualistic experience here on earth. They exist here. And so when you come here on earth, you will experience them. And you have to know what is them and what is not them. And because we're not taught how to discern that, we go into things blindly thinking that just because you're not scared doesn't means that you can't be affected by stuff like that. But that is incorrect. It doesn't matter if you're scared or not. It matters how healed you are and how clear your field is. How much your field matches 144,000 hertz, how close it is to that natural healed state of 144,000 hertz. Now, Spirit had said just a second ago, unresolved conflict. If you're going, if you are going into a room filled with haunted artifacts, artifacts that have some kind of electric charge of fear, of all the low emotions that have charged it with that energy and have been feeding off of that fear, then yes, it can absolutely affect you because it's matching your unhealed energetic state. So that's just something that I was getting before we start. So I think this is a really important message for our educational purposes as we move forward into the new earth energies. We are going to 100% need to deal with our emotional state. And the more we go along this timeline of going into the new earth energy, into a higher consciousness of awareness, you're going to find that it's going to become, I don't want to use the word chaotic, but it's going to feel that way because it's meant to shake up your beliefs and the old things, that the patterns that don't serve you anymore. And so Dan Rivera was, I'm not gonna say, consumed by the fire. He was, and it says wizard. So he was definitely pulled into this environment, this world, this Annabelle franchise world. He was definitely captivated by the idea of Annabelle and the paranormal and all of that. And Ed and Lorraine Warren aren't here anymore. And so if they want to come through, that's awesome too, to give their, take on things. Um, but what we have categorized as paranormal research, I mean, is it? Is going into a place filled with pain and suffering with your camera, trying to elicit responses from the energies that are still not healed, exploiting their, pain. Is that really research? Excuse me, my throat chakra is closing up. Is that really research? I don't think it is. I think it's exploitive. I think it's disrespectful. 122. I think it's highly yeah, wrong morally to go into a place or to exploit these things for money, and that's kind of like what is happening. And so that is just matching greed and gluttony, and trying, you're taking really, when something's haunted, you can just look at it as suffering, because something great, full of suffering and pain and guilt and shame and all the negative emotions, happened around, near, or in that place, person, place, or thing. And that's something that needs to heal. If we keep on exploiting it, and if we keep on investigating it with our gadgets and stuff, and shut off the gadgets and go in there with compassion and heal it. You need to heal it, otherwise you're just a direct match for the low astral entities that are very excited that you have no idea what you're getting into. You know, I try to stay away from the word demonic, um, because that's just, fear mongering. It's really energy matching. Nothing can affect you if you're not a match for it. But if you are a match for it, then yeah, 100% it can affect you. It can make you have heart attacks. It can make you have panic attacks. It can make you think thoughts that aren't yours. It can give you ideas that you think are yours, like all kinds of things. Hi, all the way absurd. Thank you so much. Wow, this is very fascinating. Thank you. Where is he? I don't see him. Any Christ out there? Or you can go to Christ, go to him. Prepare for eternal punishment, doggy. Who? Fallen angels come in disguises. Repent and turn to Christ. He's the truth. I'm never repenting. Sin for the win. You guys, don't be so immature. You look so good with oh my gosh. That is just, that is ridiculous. There's a lot of weird things being said. I'm gonna leave it. Whatever. Transmute it. People wake up real early and say some weird shit. Okay, but it's not a big deal. So, unfortunately, Dan Rivera passed July 13th at 54, the age of 54. Definitely taking too soon. Um, we're going to talk to him, get his point of view, see if it had anything to do with the things that he was incorporated with, the things that he was playing with. Um, what you got that speaker in the back that fallen angels used to communicate with you? Eddie, Eddie, you gotta stop projecting onto me. I know that you have a fear of something, but that fear isn't here. So you can stay if you want, but if you're going to keep interrupting with silly things, I'm going to get you out of here. Okay? Then what was that? It happened twice. It's called the necrometer, and all it does is pick up on electromagnetic frequency. And anything that picks up on electromagnetic frequency it can pick up on negative energy, but only if it's something that is attracted to the person using it. And I'm not attracting that kind of energy. So that's how it works. That's why we're here, to educate you, to educate all. Eddie, you're being a silly Billy. Mm. We're here to educate about energy, okay? They are watching. I know they are. Good morning, good vibes. Thank you. Oh, so there's a lot of unresolved conflict in this energy. There's a lot of. I also got some names. I got Finley, Angeline, and Stephanie, to be specific. I also got cryptozoology, which is very interesting because that's been coming up a lot for me in downloads when it comes to energy and the time and the energy we're going into. And the energy we're going into, there's going to be a lot of um, energy around resolving conflicts, resolving things within yourself. And so that's also going to bring forward, because the veil is thinner, Um, Possible more sightings of strange creatures, cryptids, things like that, which also cryptids, there are cryptids that live in another dimension that can absolutely be drawn to people in this energy that thrive off of exploiting the energy. They can use them to feed off of their energy, and so that's another thing I was getting, which we don't often talk about a lot. When we think of cryptids, we think of like Bigfoot, and we think of chupacabra, and what was the other one? Um, what the hell? Skinwalker, a skinwalker. And so there's an infinite amount of what we would categorize as cryptids that don't even have a physical body. They're non-physical, fourth and fifth dimensional, what we would label as cryptids, but they can absolutely be archons, or they have many names. Just trickster entities, entities that feed off negative emotion, fear. That's what they eat, is your energy. Outside of this universe, it's not about money, it's about energy. And everything is energy. And so we really need to understand that. Okay, enough talking. I think made my point, I hope. So Spirit did say wizard. Dan could have been dabbling into wizardry or whatever to try to contact um, these entities, or to try to appear to have some kind of connection paranormally. Okay, so we're gonna find out. I have these imagine if cards that I haven't used in a while, and I can't believe I forgot about them because I love them so much. Spirit, do you think I should do a song? I'll do a song. Let me see. Oh, whoops, that's already. I'll do a new song. Let me see. Holy Divine Spirit, please give us a song that tells us a little about this energy. Where do you want me to go? I'll do. Spirit said bedding, and this says stay in bed. So let me see. I'll do a song from here. I'll shuffle it. What the heck? Oh, here we go. Honey Dove. Let me see. Honey Dove by Lee Fields and the Expressions. My baby love, my honey dove, I can't live without your love. Why can't we make it like it was since you've been gone? I've been all alone, waited and waited with my telephone. You never called, and girl, I'm so alone. You're hurting me right down to the bone. Mmm. It can be like it was. Don't leave me like this. I can't go on because my love for you, girl, is so doggone strong. And if you leave me, baby, no, I won't last for long without you in my life. My life is gone. Interesting. So something obsessive. Something that was a little that he may have attached himself to, that may have been kind of an obsession. Something strong, something he couldn't let go of, something he couldn't turn away from, something that was calling him, something that kept um, leading him back. 1930s. What was this obsession? Oh, hi, Boxer. Thanks for being here. Hi, Luke Cage. Well, if that's how you feel, then you don't have to be here, my love. Okay? Thank you so much. There's a lot of, I've never had so many interruptions during a reading before. That's pretty crazy. All right, let's do some imagine ifs. We're gonna roll the dice. Okay. 1 plus 8 is 9. 1. Stephen King. Imagine if Stephen King were a famous author. Imagine if Dan Rivera was a famous author. Who would he be? Stephen King. Interesting. Okay. Stephen King. That's very specific. A horror. Horror, suspense, thriller. Thank you, Patience. That's so rude. Yeah. Just unhealed people projecting. It's okay. Thank you for being here all the way, absurd. All right, let's do another one. So, if item, Spirit said item, and also said idol, idol. I think he's talking about Annabelle. Dan Rivera may have wanted to write a book or um, be a famous author or an authority about Annabelle. He may have saw some kind of vision of himself being able to be the security for Annabelle, the authority of Annabelle. This may have become some kind of like obsession of his to oh my gosh, there's like a tiny little spider crawling across this. I don't know if you can see it. It's like the smallest spider in the world. He may have had ideas to write a book about it or to get enough information about Annabelle to be able to be this authority to possibly write a book. But the book would have been Stephen King material, like very, he wanted it to be very entertaining. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these psychic researchers is that it's more for views and likes and entertainment. It's not for healing and transmuting and, helping these energies. It's not to learn about energy, it's to scare people, to exploit being scared. And that has to stop. It has to stop. So something about his obsession with writing a book about or something like that. Um, Imagine if Dan Rivera's personality or a female name, which would be best? Xena, Xena, like a warrior princess, like a warrior. He may have felt or stay on the trail. He may have become obsessed with being this pioneer of like finding out the truth about Annabelle and then being able to write a book about it and starting all these things about it. It may have become his main goal, his main obsession. It may have actually taken him away from possibly his family, his friends. Um, he may have been very passionate about doing that, and he made it like his thing that he was going to do. Okay, he attached himself to that idea. Okay, he may have even been pushed in that direction by the energy from the spirit realm. I cannot make it up. Spirit just said from the spirit realm, and I was literally just gonna say from Annabelle, from the spirit realm. This Annabelle is probably not haunted. It's probably people's beliefs directed towards the doll. The original person that had an experience with Annabelle present probably had the attachment to them. And because they didn't know anything about energy, they just assumed that it must be the doll because the doll was the newest thing in their environment. And so they projected what was attached to them to the doll. And so the doll became the focus of the fear and the belief and everything. And that's what concentrated the energy into the doll. So the being is just like, okay, you want to think the doll is haunted? Sure. If that's scary for you, that's giving me the most loosh. It's giving me the most food. So let me just direct it. And then And then every person it encounters has that thought already in their head. So they're already thinking the doll is haunted, the doll is haunted, the doll is possessed by a demonic entity. And the entity is like, okay, if that's what scares you, it's responding to what your beliefs are that will be the scariest for them to get the most amount of food. And then that will continue as long as you keep on provoking it. You keep on giving it power, you keep on giving it your thoughts, you keep on giving it your beliefs, you keep on you know poking it. It will continue to get stronger because you are feeding it that. Okay, so it could have given him this idea of how he can be famous if he just does this and that, and you can be the warrior for demonic possession, and you can write books. And so there was some kind of intrusive thought that was, or idea, I don't want to say intrusive, incepted thought that could have been given to him by whatever energy from the spirit realm was poking around in his brain. Okay. 5. um let's see. 5. Imagine if Dan Rivera were an insect. Which would he be? A praying mantis. Oh my gosh, mantis. Mantis, what are you saying? My mantis is not an actual mantis. It's just an archetype of a mantis. I think a lot of people are like, you say mantis, what's that mean? But in this case, I think that it's the literal praying mantis. He was lying in wait for some kind of information or some kind of moment or some kind of pray persecute. Spirit just said persecute. This has unresolved conflict. There may have been some kind of conflict between him and the franchise or the shower curtain. What is it called that he was part of? It was something Nesper, New England, New England. What was it called? Society for Psychic Research. There may have been some kind of conflict between him and Nesper. It could possibly be because he was interested or sharing his interest in using Annabelle as some kind of like catalyst to be a famous author or something like that. There may have been some kind of conflict about that. Um, and if not that, there's definitely something he was lying in wait for. Praying mantises, um, the female praying mantis will, hmm, the female praying mantis will eat the head off the male praying mantis after it impregnates her. So something lying in wait, waiting to take his head off, and metaphorically. So it could have been something about having an idea and sharing it, and then that person being in conflict about this road that Dan wanted to take to be this famous author, using Annabelle as a catalyst, something like that. I don't know, something like that, okay? All right, let's clarify. Please clarify. We'll do, we haven't done Trivial Pursuit in a while. Let's do Trivial Pursuit. So tell me more about, this praying mantis. If Dan Rivera were an insect, he may have been, like, waiting to something that wasn't nice. You come up in this franchise as someone who's a passionate paranormal researcher, and then you start to have your own ideas or an incepted idea of selfishly taking, the business of the people who helped you get to where you got. Something like that. We'll do blue. What Arab city did Crown Prince Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum turn into a pro golf and tennis tournament mecca? Dubai. Yeah, it's like something about the franchise of turning of I mean taking the animal doll after all of the energy that was built up around this doll, with the fear, with the haunting, with the possession, all of this build up to take it out of its sanctuary, and to bring it around to each city. That's that's like turning Dubai into a pro golf mecca. That was definitely done for greed, for money. Um, Ed and Lorraine Warren kept it in that place for a reason. And to take it out of there is wildly absurd. Is all the way absurd, all the way absurd. It's crazy that the disrespect, the misinformation, the thought that that would be a wise move after the history. That doll should be burned. That doll should There shouldn't be these elaborate stories about all the damage it's caused and all the fear it's created. There shouldn't be all of these things. What you're creating is a belief system that that's a non-physical, I mean a physical item. You're basically idolizing Annabelle, okay? You're idolizing fear and possession and demonic entities. You're idolizing that by drawing attention to it, taking it around. So something about that energy, that's not a divine energy, that's not a healing energy, that's not, I want a being of service energy. It may have been exactly opposite of what Ed and Lorraine Warren would have wanted. Ed and Lorraine Warren, when they got that doll or all those things in the room, they should not leave the room. They kept the room locked. They said, don't remove things from this room. That room was blessed every day. That room, everything in it was supposedly blessed every day. I don't, I think they kept those items because they just didn't know what else to do with them, and a fear of not wanting them to be around anything else. So there's something about, you know, someone who's entitled, who doesn't have any idea how the spiritual world works, that's not in contact with their spirit team, that doesn't have a relationship with God, that isn't a healed person, comes along and says, I know how to maximize the money of this item, let's do this. So something like that, um exploiting things you don't understand, making them into a mecca of money and potential that's basically off the skin of lower astral entities, and then spreading that around town. That's like spreading an STD essentially. It's like irresponsible. Okay? So something about that, wanting to make money off of fear. Okay? And then Ed and Lorraine Warren are like, you might as well be a praying mantis, because what you're doing is you're impregnating the thoughts of people with fear to come see this thing, and you're now they're have contact with it, and now they're getting fed on because of their fear about the doll. It's like some weird energetic loophole or something. Orange. What U.S. state attracts mountaineers, kayakers, and windsurfers to its annual Gorge Games? Oregon. Yeah, it's attracting all these people who are interested in the paranormal, but that have no idea how energy works. And every person that buys a ticket, that goes and surrounds themselves with these items that have been filled with fear and all these things, they it's some weird like gorge. Yeah, it's some weird feeding fest or something that has been created through these intrusive, inceptive ideas or thoughts from the spirit realm. And people have no idea. They have no idea that that idea that you thought was so great to do this wasn't even yours. It was incepted there. It was planted there by these lower astral entities that want to have the maximum amount of food they can get. It's like a buffet. It's like a smorgasbord for these entities. Because people who are unhealed, who are drawn to this stuff because you are a supernatural being, you're a non-physical being that forgot who you are. And so of course your people are drawn to these things because they want answers. They want to know where they come from. They want to know what life is about, and life after death, and all these things. It comes from a place of curiosity, but because you're so ignorant, you don't know nothing about energy, you just you're drawn to these things and you get fed off of, and then you wonder why you're depressed, why you're angry, why you're have anxiety. It's because you are matching this energy. If you didn't match this energy, you wouldn't be buying a ticket. It wouldn't come into your awareness. It wouldn't be attracted to you. But you attract what you match. And so if you're attracting take this, if you're attracting if you're in this energy, then it will be come in your awareness where you'll see a ad for a ticket and you'll say, oh, I want to go to that, who wants to go with me? And you'll bring people with you to the buffet, that you are the buffet. You know, that's crazy. We just don't understand energy. This is not something we should be traveling around town with. Okay, all right, so tell me more about what happened to you, Dan. How does it connect to Annabelle? It says wizard, so I don't know if Dan is a wizard or if someone around him is a wizard or someone who uses like Ouija boards and seances to talk to entities that pretend to be good, and they don't have the discernment to know which one is good and which one is bad. That's why we said in the beginning what we said. You you are naturally able to talk to spirits because you are spirit, and so you're not going to never not have that, but you're in a physical body, so you forgot that that's what you are. So you have to learn which energy matches you are attracting based on the energy you're in. And you'll know if you're not healed and you're have a big ego and you're very greedy and very selfish, you're not going to be attracting energy that's divine. You're not. And you have to be able to discern that if you're going to mess with this kind of stuff. Goddess in reverse. Goddess in reverse. So definitely could have been talking to an entity that claimed to be a goddess of some kind. Cheese in reverse. Cheese in reverse, something that's not funny now. Something that in retrospect isn't fun anymore. Was was fun. It was fun at first. That's how they are. When these entities come to you, when you're playing with Ouija boards and you're playing satisfaction and you're playing with seances and whatever it was that they thought that wasn't gonna hurt anybody that they could control, they don't know anything about energy. And so Dan Rivera and whoever else in this, maybe someone who's a woman and a man and another man, they could have tried to contact whatever was in Annabelle or whatever claims to be. I don't think anything's attached to Annabelle. I think it's just there's nothing inside Annabelle. It's just an energy. It's the energy that is already created around Annabelle that when people put their attention onto it and all their beliefs and their thoughts are it's possessed and it does this and it does that and it kills, then the entities come around it and they say, "Oh, the humans are so stupid. They think that this doll has energy in it. Let's okay, if that's what they want to think. They're just doing what you're thinking. They're just doing what you're thinking. They can read your thoughts." Okay, so they contacted some kind of entity and it was fun at first, but now it's not fun anymore. Okay? Complex. Complex. It became complex. It could have possibly been experiencing um, supernatural things because they asked for it. They literally called upon whatever was in Annabelle and they had thoughts and beliefs of what would come. And that's what they experienced. Squeeze. I told you, squeeze. They got exactly what they wanted. They got squeezed. It became. I have Amanda, Finley, Angeline, and Stephanie for names. Truthful. hmm The truth is complex. The truth is complex. They got squeezed. They were being squeezed. They probably felt a lot of anxiety. They were probably having a lot of spiritual experiences that were scaring them, that were keeping them in a fear state because they don't understand energy. Stomach could have had stomach issues, could have been sick to their stomach about and pants. They could have been sick to their stomach, having nausea, having issues with their body, behavior, could have been having weird things with their behavior because they invited something in by not having discernment, not asking for protection, not meditating, not praying, not asking your guides for help, not doing anything to protect themselves from whatever lower astral entities, trickster entities are using this disguise to perpetuate fear, okay? I'm not trying to have an attitude about it, but I'm just like, wow, it's like could you be any more spiritually irresponsible? Like I don't when you do this, you can't really be surprised when you start having a downgrade in your life experience, honestly. Don't do divination, don't do Ouija boards, don't do seances, don't do scrying, don't do mirror gaze, don't do any of that if you're not in a heart space. If you're not in contact with your angels, with your guides, if you're not in relationship with them, if you're not in a relationship with Creator, you can't do any of those things because you don't know how to protect yourself from whatever comes through. Okay, that's the lesson here. Whimsical in reverse. Yeah, what was that first? Whimsical and mysterious and fun, and it was exciting to be part of this Annabelle thing and to figure out, this was for like research, psychic research. Anything having to do with the spiritual realm, negative, you should not do by yourself. You should not do it without your spirit team. Okay? For my own journey, I never dabbled in these things without knowing that I was completely protected and guided. And even in the past, before I was in as much of a relationship as I am now, I grew up seeing angels. I grew up as a child having best friends that were invisible, having many supernatural experiences, encountering many cryptids. So I grew up understanding the spiritual realm. And even though I ignored it for a long time, I still knew to respect it, and that there's certain things you just shouldn't mess with, and there's certain things that there's most things, anything spiritual, you need to have your angels, you need to ask your angels for help. You need to be in direct relationship with them to understand what steps to take, what protection to do. I mean, you should just do protection in general for many things. But that's what we don't understand as a society. We don't understand these things. Yeah, film. We film expecting, or these people, their paranormal research is to film expecting a negative experience instead of going into these things as, I want to heal this energy. I want to transmute this energy. I want to help this energy cross over. I want to help this energy go back to where they came from. No, it's more like, let's poke the bear. Let's get it upset, let's ask it questions, let's converse with it, let's give it our time and our energy and focus on it so we can be the authority, so we can make money off of it, and then let's film it, let's put it on camera, and let's let everyone see it. It's like, no, no, that's ridiculous. Okay, so they definitely so these energies definitely fed off of this ignorance, this ignorance of energy. Okay. I'm going to do my stare cards since this is very spiritual. We'll see if we can get some symbology here. So tell me more. Maybe the praying mantis is the spirit, impregnating them with an idea, and then lying in wait to pounce or to attack or to eat the head off, you know. Dan Rivera, why'd you have a heart attack? What happened? All right. He could have been under some kind of spiritual attack, spiritual warfare. Hmm. Yeah, he could have been, like I said, they were very naive. They were very they were in a childlike immaturity about what they're playing with. They didn't understand that these lower astral entities can take everything from you little by little, and can make things happen that are supernatural, that can scare you. The goal is to keep you scared, because when you're in a fear state, that's opposite of love, and it's easier to infiltrate your mind, your thoughts, your being when you are in this state. And so when you're coming together with people and you're sharing energy, hi Ashley, and you're projecting, or you're concentrating your energy into the seance or the Ouija board, and you're calling upon this energy will take advantage of you. Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. They'll come to you. Spirit said, just turn back. Just don't even do it. They'll come to you saying, I'm Goddess Isis, and I want to make your life more abundant. And they'll say, you should write a book deal, and we'll give you the paranormal research you're looking for so you can uh become this famous artist, and you can be famous. They read your thoughts. They know what you want, what you desire. They're fourth and fifth dimensional, so your thoughts are fourth and fifth dimensional. Yeah. Yeah, they're like a salesman. They're like, yeah, do this, paint this, say this chant, do this spell, gather these ingredients, put them together, draw it on a wall, draw this symbol on a wall, light a candle inside of it. These are things that the the lower astral entities will talk you into doing as goddess Isis, as a goddess, but they're really not a goddess. They're tricking you. And so there's something about Dan Rivera being tricked by whatever energy is around Annabelle. All what are they called? Not Arcturians. Oh my gosh, I can't even think of the word now. See, they're trying they're making me forget the word I just said. I just said it. If anybody knows what I'm speaking of, I think it's like archnons. I can't even say it anymore. It's definitely them. Okay. Um they may have they were trying to get research. They were under the guise of a research. Okay? Psychic research. We're doing this for research, okay? But they're unhealed. So they're doing the research in an unhealed state, attracting the archons. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. The archons, okay? And the archons are like, yes, we're a goddess and we can. Amanda can see the light. Oh, Amanda. Amanda Burrows. Spirit just said Amanda can see the light. Spirit's talking to ya. Thank you for being here. Thanks for sharing the light with us. Transmuting, trying to educate the collective about how energy works. Thank you for being here. How funny. I love listening to other reads with the necrometer on. It's a way for me to read energy too. So it's so funny that we both do that. Thank you for being here. Of course, anytime. All are welcome. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribing if you're not subscribed so we can follow each other, share energy. I told you, unresolved conflict. So that's what's happening here. This energy, they were playing with things they didn't understand. The energy infiltrated their relationships, started conflicts. That's what they do. They have during the night. They could have created conflicts within this dynamic. It could have been to 5 people that would sit in a circle or do something in this research. It's the New England Society for Psychic Research. These people, when they go and do research, it could possibly be in seances and rituals and stuff because they think that they're like on the leading edge of some kind of research experiment, but that's not what this is. They're being tricked. And so it created some kind of conflict where Dan Rivera may have wanted to leave, or he's like, I've had enough of this, or I'm gonna go on my own. I don't need you guys to do this. And that thought was put there by this thing. It was like if you go off on your own, then you'll be able to write this book and blah 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 blah. Okay, so it created conflict. There may have been some kind of spiritual warfare after this conflict. Again, look at this. Black cats, they're being crazy. And I have black ants right here. These are the entities. And look, this is the man and the woman I was talking about that it's out of control. Whatever they did, it's out of control. They can't control it. They're scared. There's things that happen to them at nighttime that makes them scared, and it's these trickster entities that are reading their thoughts, thinking about what scares them and then doing it. Okay, giving them nightmares and waking up with scratches and all the things you see in the movie. It's just fear. It's just fear. So they were in the doghouse because something about Dan going off on his own may have caused some. Look, bloody. And look at this. There's red paint right here. They could have been guided by this entity to do some kind of blood ritual or something with an animal, and that really like sealed the deal with this. It created some kind of energetic um cord or something. And when Dan wanted to be relieved of this, he was like, I've had enough of this. This isn't fun anymore. I'm starting to face, behavior issues, and things are going wrong, and I'm getting sick, and there's all these things started to help them. All these things started to go wrong because these entities were wreaking havoc. I was so scared. Yeah, he was scared. He was scared. Look how scared these people are right here. Look at them. Because they knew they fucked up and they didn't know how to control it. And Dan wanted to leave, but they already made some kind of blood pact or whatever this entity said to do with blood. Three people did it and two watched. Three people did it and two watched. So, um, I don't know anything about those kinds of things. I'm telling you what Dan's telling me. And when Dan decided to leave, that could have been why he had a heart attack, because you don't you don't leave once it's sealed in blood. You have to ask God for help to leave that. You have to turn to Yeshua. Oh my gosh, as soon as I said Yeshua, Spirit said Urijah. Urijh. Urijah. Jehovah. My light is Jehovah. I cannot make it up, you guys. I cannot make it up. Once you do these blood oaths, these blood pacts, these rituals after you're playing with seances and stuff, you can't just leave. You're under spiritual warfare the minute that you leave. But we don't understand spiritual warfare because we're not taught. Spirit said forgot. We have the veil of forgetting. And it's up to us to come back to remembering that we're non-physical energy having a human experience. And so if you want to leave witchcraft, if you want to leave these rituals, these blood rituals, you have to ask for help from your creator. And that's when you'll start receiving the help that is needed on a spiritual realm to fight for you. Spiritual warfare is real, my friends. It is absolutely real. Let's go bird watching. Yes, you are surrounded by your guides, angels, spirit guides, ancestors, loved ones, beings of love and light that want to help you. But when you start doing this stuff it's so weird because people will do these things and think that it's a goddess that's telling them to do these things, but they won't pray, but they won't say thank you to the creator for everything, to mother, to the father. It's so weird. The disconnect. It's like, oh, so you'll do the blood ritual, but you won't ask God for help. I don't know. It's so disconnected. Dan Rivera is revealing that he tried to walk away from something that was sealed in blood, that he did because he thought he was very uneducated about what he was doing. He was matching this archon energy that used his thoughts against him, an attachment. Yes, ma'am. Yep. I love birds and collect feathers from spirit as signs, and I always thank my higher power. Yes, exactly. Whenever I see birds in the cards, I know that that's spirit. And I love the birds outside are constantly following me, I swear. But this group of people that are associated with the New England Psychic Research Society or whatever, you can't research super normal things and not even have a connection with God. Period. Period. the creator. You can't do these things and then say it's research and then expect to not have what's happening to all the people who have told you all of their accounts. Ed and Lorraine Warren, I don't think they started as exploitive, but I think that as they became more popular, it started to be okay to make money off of certain things. And then once they passed, whoever they passed their society onto said, well, we need to make more money because that's what it's about in this world, or what people make it about. You can't have a society and give all your time to it and not make any money off of it. And so their main goal in this whole thing was not to heal, was not to transmute, was not to learn, was not research. It was to make money and to have the authority and the power and the knowledge of how to control this whole situation. Okay? So he was spiritually attacked. He was spiritually attacked by whatever it was that attached itself to it. And when he decided he wanted to leave, they didn't want to have any part to do with it. He wanted to just, I'm going to be alone. Look at all the dolls. Look at all the dolls around him. I'm going to take this show on the road. I'm going to take it away from these people, or whatever. He wanted to separate from these people because there's a conflict that was created from this archon. Okay? Yeah. Tony, do you want to go for a ride? Yeah, just bringing all these people on to do things they have no idea the consequences of. They have not sure. All of these things that they're not even sure of. They're hesitant. They don't even follow their initial uh intuitive reaction, which is, I'm not sure about this. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. And then they get talked into it. You want to go for a ride? It'll be fun. I know exactly what I'm doing. This is a story of not understanding energy, okay? And being so arrogant and so naive as to think that you had any control over this situation, okay? Without even an ounce of help of asking from anyone, from your team, your spirit team, or God, or creator, whatever you want to say. Not even a thought about them. It makes me want to cry, honestly. How could you be so stupid? Uh, it's not Annabelle that resulted in this, it's spiritual warfare, okay? You mess with things you don't understand, you don't heal, you don't ask for help. In this case, it only exacerbated something that was already there, something that already was a match to Dan, okay? These things cannot affect you if you're not a match for it. It's Spirit always says it's like putting a marble onto Velcro. Okay? Spirit says she's dangerous. Yeah, there could be a female here because I have um imagine a personality where a female name, and I have Xena. So there's something about a female here. There could be a specific, and there's also a female here. There could be a specific female who may be claiming to be a psychic, who claims to speak to the dead. That got them into this trouble. I also have a female here. Okay, that may be what the song is about. You know, Dan could have been sleeping with this person or had some kind of relationship with this person, or someone in the society had a relationship with this person. There may have even been a love spell that was conducted to draw people to this person to make them the authority, or be obsessed with them, or know that, or feel like they have the knowledge or something. Some voodoo. Spirit just said voodoo. Someone who practices voodoo. This could have been some kind of voodoo entity that does Or she's dangerous could be referring to the goddess in reverse. It could be some kind of reverse goddess who specializes in voodoo magic that requires like blood, something. Uh, confirmation. Confirmation. All right. I also got there was I accidentally picked up a card but I put it back and it said I should have thought this through. I should have thought this through. Good morning, Robin. Good morning. So whoever this woman is, if you're ever watching this and you come across this live because you're drawn to it and you see this about Dan Rivera, he's telling you that stop doing what you're doing. Go heal. Go ask for help from God. Yes. 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 There's lots of people in this group that were part of this society that were drawn in by this woman. Look, this woman's like Stephen trapped. Mm. Let go. Let go, Stephen. Let go. Go into the light. Maybe Dan is trapped. Mm. Love can conquer everything. Think about the things that you value, the things that you choose to focus on, the things that you give your energy to. Don't accelerate things that make you feel fear, that make you feel confusion. Don't put value or focus onto those things that don't have that make you wonder, that make you feel uncomfortable, that make you feel confusion. Don't focus on those things. Don't commit to those things. Those things will create barriers and they'll connect you to things that you don't want. All right. Final words. I think we understand what happened here. Final words. Any last thoughts you'd like to share with us about this, what you've learned? Delusion. 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 Be careful what you're focusing on. Be careful what you're giving your energy to. Be careful what you're choosing to connect yourself with. If you want to match, demonic vibes and you want to focus on why something's so demonic and why bad things happen, then they're going to scratch you. Then those things, those archons, those things you're choosing to connect with you're going to get scratched. Don't be in a delusion about what's real and what's not. Don't be confused. Any confirmation, anything that's confusing you or making you feel scared or fear, those are things that are not for you. That's your intuition telling you, speaking to you, saying this isn't the way to go. Redirect yourself to something else that makes you feel good emotionally, not physically. Otherwise, it's going to create a delusion. You're going to live in this delusion that being in fear and connecting to things that make you feel confusion are good for you, and it's going to lead to dire consequences. That's how energy works. Okay? Don't be delusional. Be honest with yourself. What are you choosing to believe? What are you choosing? What are you allowing? Confirmation. What are you allowing into your energy field? Is it gratitude, or is it an attachment or detachment? These are the things that you need to pay attention to energetically, because you are first and foremost 100% a non-physical entity having a human experience. You're not human. And you better believe that these are archons, these archons are more than happy for you to do most of the work so they can attach to you. They do very little to keep you in fear, and that's all they need is for you to be confused and for you to think that you have control and for you to not even think about your thoughts at all as being important. Don't be lazy. Follow what feels good emotionally. If there's someone in your field, what do you desire? If there's someone in your field that's making you feel uncomfortable, that's making you feel like you should do something you shouldn't do, you need to follow what is right for you. Don't be delusional. The irony of that statement is obviously lost on you. Okay, Gilbert. Thank you for your opinion. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Feeling fear is a call for love. Yes. Tantric journey. The frequency of the tantric journey helps us to unlock the hidden knowledge and wisdom that we intrinsically hold about how to reach a state of wholeness and completion through our sensual experiences and ourselves and one another. Yes, I understand. Understood. What Dan is saying is that he was delusional in thinking that he was being connected by what he was attempting to create. He thought he thought that he thought that his delusion was that the incepted thought that this Archon was giving him about being a famous author and using Annabelle as a way to catapult his career would connect him with so many people, yeah, physically, but spiritually, he was not connected to God, to Creator. He wasn't connected through love. He was connected through fear of failure, fear of not being known, fear of not being full. He wasn't fulfilled, so he was looking for fulfillment, and so he allowed what he thought would lead him to fulfillment through this book deal or whatever incepted thought he had. But really, what he should have known is that he didn't have to do all these things to be connected at all. All he had to do was know that he is connected to God because God made him, and that anything he needs to know is within himself. And all you have to do is go within. You just need to sit in silence. You don't need to do seances. All you need to do is feel gratitude. Gratitude is the highest frequency you can feel in physical form, confirmation that will connect you with Creator. Okay? Thank you. Have you considered that you're delusional? That reading card is pure bullshit. I love you. Well, that's okay. You can have your opinion. Um, Delusion is based on Dan's representation of what he was in. So that's what we're getting. Intention without surrender can be a fast path to delusion. Intention without surrender. His intention was to control the outcome of his success through this means of using seances and Ouija, whatever. And that was delusional to do that, okay? That song, Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places, but he was looking in the wrong places. Exactly. Dark energy was everywhere through Spirit said. Yeah, because he's surrounding himself with a on the road tour of haunted items. These items aren't haunted, it's the energy around them that is entangled with people's thoughts and beliefs that give it that energy. Energy is food to the archons. It's food. Outside of Earth, it's the currency is energy. Everything is energy. Gilbert, what do you think a delusion is? A delusion is a false belief we tell ourselves that we keep believing that doesn't serve us. That's a delusion. If you keep on believing something um that doesn't give you gratitude, that doesn't give you fulfillment, that's a delusion. If you keep on feeding a belief that keeps you confused and in fear, That's a delusion. That's not real because the only real thing is love. Outside, when you go back, confirmation, when you return back to your non-physical state, you're 144,000 hertz, you're pure positive energy, and you come into a human body to experience duality, physicality, lower density, and that is fear. But you have to learn that fear is just a false experience appearing real. It's not real. It's just your belief. It's a delusion that you have that you think is real based on your beliefs. And a belief is just a thought you keep thinking. So once you realize that love is the only true emotion that there is and everything else is a distortion of that, you start to you start to see things differently and you start to climb out of your delusion. And you can only do that when you're in this energy with help by asking for help from the creator. Okay? Well, Gilbert, that's nice. I'm glad you think I'm delusional. That's okay. I have the power to erase you. Anyway, I love you so much. Thank you, Dan Rivera, for sharing your POV. Thank you for educating us about what's going on here. I hope that this finds anyone it needs to find to help you see a higher perspective of these types of things that these energies will use, that we perpetuate, that we exploit. I'm happy to answer any questions as long as it can be flexible and a two-way street. And I love you so much. Thank you, Amanda, for sharing your energy with me. I send you blessings, and I'll see you next weekend. Okay? Love you. Bye.